Mike Bibby still believes the 2002 Lakers-Kings series cost Sacramento a championship. For one unforgettable season, the Sacramento Kings looked ready to take over the NBA. The roster was loaded with talent: Chris Webber, Vlade Divac, Peja Stojakovic, Doug Christie, and Mike Bibby formed one of the most entertaining and efficient teams of the early 2000s. Sacramento played with pace, precision, and chemistry that rivaled any contender in the league. By the end of the 2001-02 regular season, the Kings had posted a 61-21 record, the best mark in the NBA and still the greatest regular season finish in franchise history. Many around the league believed that year's Western Conference Finals between Sacramento and the Los Angeles Lakers was the true championship series. The Lakers were chasing a third consecutive NBA title behind the dominant duo of Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, while the Kings represented the league's most complete team. The winner was widely expected to defeat the New Jersey Nets, who had emerged from the Eastern Conference. More than 20 years later, that series remains one of the most controversial in basketball history. And for former Kings point guard Mike Bibby, the pain has never fully disappeared. Bibby believes the Kings were robbed. During a recent appearance on the Nightcap podcast, Bibby was asked directly whether he believed Sacramento had been robbed in the 2002 Western Conference Finals. Former NBA guard Joe Johnson framed the question carefully, acknowledging the long-running debate surrounding the series. Bibby did not hesitate. "Hell yeah. Yeah, it was," he replied. The former Kings star then explained why the issue still matters so much to him. In his view, that series represented far more than a missed playoff opportunity. He believes it could have changed the entire trajectory of his career. "That could change my whole career," Bibby said. "What if I get to the finals, I get finals MVP? That looks a whole lot better on my resume than what I got now." Those comments reveal how deeply that series still resonates with him. Bibby is not simply reliving an old playoff loss, he is reflecting on what he sees as a lost legacy-defining opportunity. Joe Johnson's perspective as a former opponent. Joe Johnson, who entered the NBA in the same era, admitted that the Kings were one of the few teams he believed could realistically challenge the Lakers dynasty. "I didn't think nobody could beat that Lakers team, Kobe and Shaq," Johnson said. "But when I tell you, y'all pushed them to the brink." Johnson's comments reflect the widespread respect Sacramento earned during that run. The Kings were not viewed as a lucky upstart. They were a legitimate powerhouse that appeared capable of ending Los Angeles's reign. The confidence after Game 5. Bibby has shared similar memories on other podcasts, including the OG's show with Udonis Haslem and Mike Miller. He recalled the atmosphere after Sacramento won Game 5 and took a 3-2 series lead. According to Bibby, the Lakers looked defeated. He remembered seeing the expressions on the Los Angeles bench, including head coach Phil Jackson and guard Derek Fisher, and feeling certain that the series was over. That confidence was understandable. Sacramento had just escaped with a dramatic 92-91 victory, and the Kings were one win away from their first NBA Finals appearance. Bibby even went on local radio before Game 6 and predicted that Sacramento would close out the series in Los Angeles. Chucky Brown's warning. Before Game 6, veteran teammate Chucky Brown offered Bibby a warning that would later become part of the series lore. Brown, then in his 14th NBA season, reportedly told the young point guard that if a certain officiating crew worked the game, it's not going to go the way we like. Bibby, only in his 4th season at the time, brushed off the comment. Years later, he admitted he probably wishes he had paid closer attention. Whether Brown was simply expressing a veteran's cynicism or had genuine concerns about officiating tendencies, the warning gained significance because of what happened next. Bibby's outstanding series. Lost in the controversy is just how well Bibby played throughout the series. Across 7 games, he averaged 22.7 points, 4.4 assists, and 3.6 rebounds while consistently delivering in clutch moments. His defining performance came in Game 5. With the score tied late, Bibby hit a crucial mid-range jumper that gave Sacramento the lead for good and secured the 92-91 win. He finished with 23 points and looked every bit like a player capable of starring on the NBA's biggest stage. For a point guard who had arrived in Sacramento only the previous season, it was a breakout moment that elevated his reputation across the league. Why the 2002 Kings were special. To understand why the controversy remains so emotional for Kings fans, it helps to remember how dominant that team was. Sacramento's 61-21 record led the NBA, and the roster featured remarkable balance. 7 players averaged double figures in scoring. Chris Webber led the way with 24.5 points per game, Peja Stojakovic added 21.2, and Bibby contributed 13.7 during the regular season. The Lakers, despite being the two-time defending champions, had not been clearly superior during the regular season. They finished 58-24, tied with the San Antonio Spurs, and earned the number 3 seed only through a tiebreaker. That is why so many observers treated the Western Conference Finals as the de facto championship. The winner was expected to be a heavy favorite against New Jersey. As it turned out, the Lakers swept the Nets 4-0 after surviving Sacramento. The infamous Game 6. Game 6 in Los Angeles remains one of the most heavily scrutinized playoff games ever played. The Lakers won 106-102 behind Shaquille O'Neal's massive 41-point, 17-rebound performance, forcing a decisive Game 7 back in Sacramento. The controversy centered on the officiating, particularly in the fourth quarter. Through the first 5 games of the series, the Lakers had averaged 25 free throw attempts per game. In Game 6 alone, they attempted 40 free throws, including 27 in the final quarter. During that fourth quarter, Los Angeles made only 5 field goals but went 21 for 27 from the foul line. Sacramento attempted just 25 free throws for the entire game. The Kings' frontcourt was also battered by foul trouble. Vlade Divac, Chris Webber, Scott Pollard, and Lawrence Funderburk combined for 20 fouls, while both Divac and Pollard fouled out. Sacramento still played well enough to win. Despite the officiating issues, the Kings remained competitive until the final seconds. Webber finished with 26 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. Bibby scored 23 points, and Divac added 12 points and 12 rebounds. The performance reinforced why Sacramento believed it was the better team. Even with the foul disparity and constant whistles, the Kings were within striking distance throughout the game. Michael Wilbon's reaction. Veteran journalist Michael Wilbon wrote in the Washington Post that he had counted 6 fourth-quarter calls that were, in his words, stunningly incorrect, and all went against Sacramento. Importantly, Wilbon did not claim the game was fixed. He specifically said he did not believe the referees had an agenda, only that the officiating was unusually poor for a game of such importance. Sacramento still had Game 7. The strongest argument against the robbed narrative is that the Kings still had another opportunity. Game 7 was played in Sacramento, where the Kings had been dominant all season. A win would have erased all debate about Game 6. Instead, the Kings lost 112-106 in overtime. Peja Stojakovic missed a critical late three-pointer, Sacramento struggled at the free throw line, and the Lakers completed the comeback to win the series 4-3. Because the Kings had a home Game 7 and failed to close the deal, the controversy remains complicated rather than definitive. The officiating may have influenced Game 6, but Sacramento still had a path to the finals and could not finish it. The collapse of the Kings' contender window. What Bibby is describing is something simpler, a genuine opportunity to reach the NBA Finals, compete for a championship, and perhaps redefine how his career is remembered. In his mind, that opportunity was taken away during the final seconds of Game 6 by a call that remains impossible for him to forget. More than 2 decades later, the 2002 Western Conference Finals still occupies a unique place in NBA history. For Lakers fans, it was another step toward a third straight championship. For Kings fans, it was the night their greatest team came within one win of immortality. And for Mike Bibby, it remains the series that might have changed everything.